have some more friends to play with.
Hey! You can never have too many friends!
The last Arkham game you could play without a VR headset was 2015, 11 years. The game that finally fills that gap is a Lego game. I went in skeptical, but that's not where I ended up. The original Lego Batman from 2008, one button, camera that barely moved, studs everywhere. This one is different at every level. The Arkham series, Asylum Through Night, is one of the most influential runs of superhero games ever made. The last one on a mainstream platform was 2015. Since then, there have been 2 Telltale games and a VR-only sequel, but for the most people watching this, the last time you could be Batman in an open world with a grapple gun, free-flow combat, gliding over Gotham was over a decade ago. Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight isn't really a Lego Batman game. It's a Batman game that happens to be in Lego.
This is how Batman begins. To dance.
The humor is still there, the characters still have that Lego playfulness to them. But this isn't a silly, tongue-in-cheek version of Batman from the Lego movies. The characters are true to their sources. The story takes itself seriously. The gadgets, upgrades, and leveling up have more depth than any previous Lego Batman game. The supervillains feel like actual threats, not just punchlines. All of that is the game on its own terms. The question for anyone with limited gaming time is whether it's worth yours. This is a parent review. From a parent for parents. Specifically for busy adults who grew up with Batman, who have kids that love Lego or who love Lego themselves, and who have a real question. Is this game worth 15 hours and $70 in a game library whose backlog isn't getting any shorter? If that sounds like you, subscribing means you'll see more of them. This game is more like a Pixar movie. Works for kids, but underneath that there's a layer built for the adults in the room. For anyone who remembers the animated series, the Burton films, the Dark Knight trilogy, who put time into the Arkham games, that layer is real. The story runs across 5 chapters, each built around a different era of Batman, and it holds together as one narrative rather than feeling like a themed anthology. For example, the Joker moves from the Nicholson version to the animated series to the Heath Ledger Joker, all woven into a single continuous story. DC Comics called the game a remix of Batman's greatest hits, and that's a good description of it. Legacy of the Dark Knight delivers, with a couple of things worth knowing before you start. Difficulty is worth a note here. The game is easy. If you played the Arkham games, the muscle memory comes back fast. Chain attacks, counter on the warning prompt, dodge the unblockable moves. Batarangs, stun enemies so you can close the gap and keep the combo going. TT games built directly on Arkham's muscle memory, and that's true from the first fight. What took a little longer to adjust to were the Lego specific controls. For example, character switching happens on a different button here than in any other Lego game. Small thing, but it catches you out if the previous games are in your history. If you played the Arkham games, classic difficulty will not be a challenge to you. I didn't die once in combat on classic. It's there if you want to move through the story without interruption, and that's a valid way to play. The Caped Crusader difficulty can bring you a bit of a challenge, and both difficulties have unlimited lives, which matters if a session gets cut short. The story surprised me. 5 chapters, 5 different eras of Batman, and they do all hold together. The era hopping really works. There's a moment where Gotham shifts into this noir-soaked style of the animated series. It goes through the Burton films and the Dark Knight trilogy, and it really works. Traversal is worth mentioning. Gliding over Gotham is the kind of movement you choose even when fast travel is right there. In the same way, Spider-Man swinging pulls you past the fast travel button. And this game adds Batmobiles and other vehicles on top of that, so you have real choices in how you get from one place to another. The launch version of the game was good, not perfect. I had two minor bugs where an item disappeared and stopped me from progressing. Both were fixed by hitting save and quit and reloading the game. I had one crash. In each case, the loss of progress was measured in seconds rather than minutes. Worth knowing, but not worth worrying about. I finished the main story and some extra content at just over 50% game completion in 16.5 hours, with 61% of the trophies along the way. There's still plenty in the open world at that point. Local co-op only. No online or subscription requirements. Your kid picks up a second controller from the same couch and you're in. Nothing extra to pay. Of my 16.5 hours with the game, about 2.5 of them were co-op with my 10-year-old daughter. She has played several LEGO games before, solo and co-op, and joining the game partway through was still familiar to her. Not much instruction needed. She came in, started playing, and found her way around. Drop inward cleanly, she was playing within a minute. What she responded to most was the combat. Specifically, that different characters have different gadgets and abilities that make each feel distinct. And the open world. Getting around Gotham as a 10-year-old has a lot of appeal apparently. The ESRB has it at E10+, Peggy is 7. My personal read, with a parent in the room, kids around 6 or 7 are fine. Nothing here is too dark or too scary. The LEGO presentation keeps it light. Where it gets more demanding is the controls. Younger children who haven't built up much controller experience might find the combat a stretch on their own. Playing together on classic difficulty is forgiving, not much other than a little time is lost if things go wrong. For mixed ages, it works. Solo for a younger child, gauge their controller experience first. I went in skeptical. I came out with my new favorite LEGO game. Is LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight for you? You can pause at any point in the game. Combat, cutscenes, all of it. Autosaves are frequent. As a parent gamer, those two things matter more than almost anything else on this list, and both are handled excellently. The chapter structure means sessions feel natural. There's a few missions per chapter which are clear stopping points. A 30 to 40 minute window gets you somewhere meaningful. 15 hours for the main story. At 5 hours a week, that's about 3 weeks. With more time, closer to 1. If you've played the Arkham games, start on Caped Crusader. Classic is too easy for anyone with that background. If you haven't played the Arkham games, Classic is a fine place to start. Both have unlimited lives. No microtransactions, nothing to interrupt your session asking for money. No subscription required to play co-op. Combat audio is manageable at low volume. You won't miss anything important if your kid wakes up or you don't want to wake up the neighbors. The open world is generous. There's a lot to do after the main story. If you're the kind of player who has trouble walking past something unfinished, be aware of that going in. Perfect parent fit. Pause anywhere, frequent autosaves. The chapter structure gives you natural session breaks, and there's nothing here that punishes you for stepping away. For an action game, it handles the parent hour better than most. Game verdict, great. I want to be clear about what that means and what it doesn't. This is my favorite LEGO game now. If you want to understand the world of Batman, the animated series, the films, the different eras, this is probably the best single place to do that, short of going back through the source material yourself. But it's not my favorite Batman game, and if you've spent time with the Arkham series, you'll feel that distinction. The truly dark side of the Dark Knight, the weight, the consequence, the version of Batman that doesn't carry a LEGO smile, that's not what this game reaches for. It finds its own lane, a lighter one. It does that lane well. Great means it delivers on everything it sets out to do. Essential is for games that change something in you. This one does what it sets out to do and does it well. That still counts for a lot. $70 for 15 hours and an open world that still has plenty in it. Worth it. A like makes a real difference for a channel this size, and the subscribe button is right there if content for busy adults, mom and dad gamers is what you're after. Ko-fi is what helps keep the lights on. There are membership tiers if you want to go deeper, or just a one-off if the video helped. Link is in the description. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.